But first, the coronavirus. I couldn't believe my ears this afternoon. Labor Leader Anthony Albanese. Now, look, we have got hundreds of thousands of Australian workers losing their jobs because of this coronavirus. We've got probably millions more of us who've sacrificed pay and conditions to help their companies survive. But today, the Labor leader was out there begging the government for more money for one organisation that actually has not had to lay off one worker, has not had to cut a single wage, and has not lost a single dollar because it's taxpayer funded. $1 billion a year.
Now Australians are relying upon the ABC to keep them informed, stay safe and to support the ongoing education of their children during this health crisis. Will the Prime Minister restore funding so the ABC can keep doing its job so effectively?
Seriously? What are Labor's priorities here? Workers doing it tough, or the well-funded broadcasters of the left who are doing it easy? But this isn't just a matter of social justice for me. The ABC has been one of the most alarmist media organisations in this crisis. It deserves no praise. I mean, close stuff, close schools, panic. And this has helped to make it very hard for the government to now say, wait a minute, steady. We have now done so well that we can soon afford to ease some of these restrictions. Slowly, but starting, well, I'd say probably next week, but all right, let's say 2 weeks. Start getting Australians back to work to pay for all this. Now, sure, stay at home this Easter, one last push, but then perhaps use that time for reflection. What is the government waiting for? At what stage will the Morrison government accept victory? Even the Prime Minister admitted today that we haven't just flattened the curve, we're driving it into the ground.
In recent days, it has averaged 2% a day. This is very encouraging. We are flattening the curve. We are buying ourselves precious time.
But buy precious time for what? Now, we were told, well, we needed that precious time to triple the number of emergency beds we have, 2,200, triple that, so that we can have enough to keep people alive. Well, fair enough. We were told by the Medical Journal of Australia that we'd be swamped. We'd run out of these ICU beds by April 5, which happened to be last Sunday. Want the latest news? Of the 2,200 ICU beds we started with, just 100 are filled by people sick with this virus. And over the last 24 hours, just 100 or so more Australians got infected. In fact, far more people are now getting better than are getting sick. And that's fewer people passing on the virus or needing a doctor. So at what stage does the government say, enough? We won't have to have all these restrictions for the 6 months we've been talking about. And certainly the Queensland Premier today didn't sound like we do at all.
The Prime Minister has said we're looking at 6 months. Let's see how we go after 6 months. But you may find that in parts of the country there are places where they are COVID-free, and there may be some mechanisms that some of those areas will be able to get back to work faster than other areas. So I don't think it's a one-size-fits-all approach. I think you're going to see different things in different states into the future.
Too true. Let's be pragmatic about this. Now, sure, the government for now is worrying about the Easter weekend. People are going to be desperate to go to the beach or the bush. And if we say, well, maybe we can now soon lift these restrictions, you know, but well, they're thinking what will happen is that people will relax right now and leave home and start mingling, get infected, and off we go again. So they won't give you the good news this side of Easter, because you were going to go on holidays anyway. But all of us need to be able to plan, particularly if you're trying to keep a business alive and your workers employed. Now, I do know, of course, that this virus is dangerous. I'm not an idiot. I can see what's happened in Italy and Spain, and I can see what's happened in New York, and I can see that British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has spent a second night in intensive care in a country where 850 people died just yesterday. This is dangerous. But here in Australia, we have to deal with the situation that we face and the conditions that we enjoy. And if we've been smart enough to keep the infections this low, we must use that space we've given ourselves carefully and slowly in the weeks ahead and start relaxing some restrictions, because otherwise we're headed for a depression. And I want to end with a contrast. Last year we had dozens of elderly people, particularly in nursing homes from Sydney to Perth, dying of the flu. But in that case, we simply shut up the nursing homes. And the same story with the flu season 3 years ago. It's terrible. It killed 1,255 Australians. 1,255 Australians, most of them very old, same sort of cohort as this virus. But then too, we just locked down the nursing homes. Maybe we're too slack, I don't know. But we certainly didn't lock all Australians in their homes as well. We didn't lock down all of Australia, even though the flu was also killing young people. While this coronavirus has of yet killed not one Australian under 55. So that's a tip for our future. But as for Easter, stay home and think about this.